People's Republic of China was increasing its power, and America was failing in the world.
Of creativity from the Chinese defense industry.
Autonomous systems, and generally a lot more unmanned systems.
This video will cover all dimensions like brief overview of the PLA, history of the PLA, structure and organization of the PLA, equipment and technology, and most important, its operations and missions. The PLA is one of the largest and most powerful military organizations in the world, and it holds a special place in the hearts and minds of the Chinese people. PLA has a rich and fascinating history, dating back to its founding in 1927. Over the years, the PLA has played a critical role in the Communist Revolution, the establishment of the People's Republic of China, and the preservation of Chinese national security. Today, the PLA is a modern and technologically advanced military force, capable of protecting Chinese interests both domestically and abroad. The PLA is made up of several branches, including the ground forces, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Rocket Force, each with its own unique missions and responsibilities. The command structure of the People Liberation Army is hierarchical, with soldiers and officers serving at various levels of rank and responsibility. In terms of equipment and technology, the PLA is always looking for ways to modernize and improve its capabilities. From cutting-edge weapons and technology to advanced training and recruitment methods, the PLA is constantly working to stay ahead of the curve. The history of the People's Liberation Army of China dates back to 1927, when the Chinese Communist Party established the Red Army to fight against the nationalists in the Chinese Civil War. At that time, the Red Army was made up of a small group of dedicated fighters who were committed to overthrowing the nationalist government and establishing a communist state in China. In 1949, the Communist forces, led by Mao Zedong, emerged victorious in the Civil War, and the Red Army was renamed the People's Liberation Army. From the very beginning, the PLA was seen as the armed wing of the Chinese Communist Party and was tasked with defending the newly established communist state and preserving Chinese national security. Over the years, the PLA has played a critical role in many of the most significant events in Chinese history. During the Korean War, the PLA fought alongside North Korean forces against the South Koreans and their allies. In the 1960s and 1970s, the PLA was involved in a series of border conflicts with Soviet forces along the Uighur River. It's worth noting that the PLA has a unique relationship with the Chinese Communist Party. Unlike the military organizations of many other countries, the PLA is not only responsible for defending the nation, but also for serving as the guardian of the communist regime and preserving the political and ideological foundations of the Chinese state. Let's start with the basic structure of the PLA. In terms of personnel, the PLA is a large and complex organization, with 2 million of active duty personnel and millions of reservists. The organization is divided into 3 main branches: the ground force, the Navy, and the Air Force. To ensure its loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party, the PLA is staffed by officers who are not only trained in military tactics and operations, but also in communist ideology and political education. The vast majority of senior military officials in the PLA are members of the Chinese Communist Party, and the People Liberation Army is also organized into a number of regional military commands, which are responsible for overseeing military operations in specific areas of the country. The most deadliest weapons of People Liberation Army includes Type 054 frigate, Liaoning aircraft carrier, 052C anti-aircraft destroyer, Chengdu J-20, Dingfeng 41, J-11 and VT-4. From its structure and organization to its equipment and technology, the PLA is a highly capable and formidable military force. However, the People Liberation Army has also been the subject of criticism and controversy, particularly with regards to its role in human rights abuses and violations in regions such as Xinjiang. The People Liberation Army has reportedly arbitrarily detained more than 1 million Muslims in re-education camps since 2017. Most of the people who have been detained are Uighur, a Muslim Turkic-speaking ethnic group primarily in China's northwestern region of Xinjiang. Beyond the detentions, Uighurs in the region have been subjected to intense surveillance, forced labor, and involuntary sterilization.
They want to get rid of the Uighur Islam. They wanted to get rid of Uighur ethnic heritage. It's very simple and very clear.
Among other rights abuses, The United States and several other foreign governments have described China's actions in Xinjiang as genocide.
All of that speaks to an effort to commit genocide.
Such attacks and such acts constitute crimes against humanity.
While the United Nations Human Rights Office said that the violations could constitute crimes against humanity. In 2022, Human Rights Watch reported that 500,000 people had been prosecuted since 2017. The Associated Press found and estimated that 1 in 25 Muslims of Xinjiang had been sentenced to prison on terrorism-related charges, all of them Uighurs. UN says that these terrorism charges are not real and Muslim Uighurs seem to have been targeted for a variety of reasons, including traveling to or contacting people from any of the 26 countries China considers sensitive, such as Turkey, attending services at mosques, having more than 3 children, and sending texts containing Quranic verses no matter if they are of holy events celebrations like Eid. And often, their only crime is being Muslim. Human rights groups say, adding that many Uighurs have been labeled as extremists simply for practicing their religion. The UN Human Rights Office released a report in 2022 based on interviews with dozens of people, including 26 individuals who were detained, that found patterns of torture or other forms of cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment in the camps between 2017 and 2019. Various exposes showed that detainees were forced to pledge loyalty to the Chinese Communist Party and left Islam, as well as sing praises for communism. Others said they were tortured and subjected to sleep deprivation during interrogations. Women have shared stories of sexual abuse, including rape. Some released detainees contemplated suicide or witnessed others kill themselves. Reason of the suicide is reported to be due to after effects of physical and mental torture and due to the rapes of women in prison.
Food and sleep deprivations and the physical and the mental torture, rape.
Because my English is not good enough, I would like my translator to read my statement. Each time I was electrocuted, my whole body would shake violently. I thought I would rather die than go through this torture.
Detention also disrupted families. Children whose parents were sent to the camps were often forced to stay in state-run orphanages. And all these human rights violations, genocide and physical and mental torture both on man and women of Uighurs Muslims population is just because Xinjiang is an important link in China's Belt and Road Initiative, a massive development plan stretching through Asia and Europe. Beijing hopes to eradicate any possibility of separatist activity to continue its development of Xinjiang, which is home to China's largest coal and natural gas reserves. Human rights organizations have observed that the economic benefits of resource extraction and development are often disproportionately enjoyed by Han Chinese people, and Uighur people are increasingly marginalized. And all these violations are to avoid any possibility of formation of separatist group form China. Justification for oppressive measures against the Uighur population by the fear of formation of a separatist group in near future is itself a terrorism committed by Chinese government. In my opinion, by these aggressive measures China is forcing peaceful people of Xinjiang to rise arms against Chinese government. Because if a man family members is killed, and there is no door of justice because the government is doing this, he will be left no choice but to rise weapon against this aggressive policy. Thank you for watching this video on the People's Liberation Army of China. We hope you found it informative and insightful. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and let us know on which army you want the video next.